Subscribe to Motoroids for the most in-depth and detailed car and bike reviews. Hit that bell icon and you will be notified before everyone else. Hey guys, welcome yet again to Motoroids. My name is Amit Changani and the car that you see here is the Toyota Yaris, the much anticipated Yaris, which is going to sit slam bang in the C segment, fighting out its rivals like the Honda City, the Maruti Ciaz, the Skoda Rapid and the Hyundai Verna. So does it have the firepower to take on rivals which have been ruling that segment for such a long time now? So let's get started with the design first. And to start off, the design up front looks very promising. Unlike a lot of its other rivals, this looks very detailed, very premium, and it comes loaded with a lot of features as well, not just from the outside, from the inside as well. If you look at the front, there is a sense of quality about this car, and right from the time you look at it, you know that this is an international product. The projector headlamps are standard on all the variants, including the very base variants, which is the J variant. In all, you have 4 variants, the J, G, V and VX, and you get these LED guide lights on the V variant, which is the topmost but one variant, and these LED lights, the DRLs, only on the top of the line VX variant. If you look at the front, Toyota has tried to give it a very wide kind of a look, and they have succeeded with those accents of black and chrome, the interplay with the main body color. It looks rather nice, and this central air dam along with these aprons on the side bumper, they look pretty nice to me. I really think this is one of the nicer looking cars from the front, if you really ask me, and it comes with the DRLs, the fog lamps, and the overall treatment is pretty nice and premium. I really like the way this car looks from the front. Moving towards the side, the wheels are a little underwhelming. They could have been a little smarter. They are also 15 inches, could have done with maybe 16-inch wheels, although they cover the wheel well very well. And they come short with 185 section tires, Goodyear rubber. The grip from the tires is pretty good. Then you get these ORVM mounted blinkers, which again are available from a certain variant upwards. They are not standard fitment. You get chrome handles on the top variant, and you also get this smart sensor which lets you get in without inserting the key. The B pillar has been blacked out, and the crease on the side starts off from the fender, takes a turn and merges into the haunches of the car. So if you really have to talk about the high point of the car from the side, they've tried to give it a sloping roofline to give it a slightly sporty kind of a look. Another highlight is this tapering greenhouse. The rear window tapers into this pointy kind of section to give it that streamlined kind of a look. This shark fin antenna also adds a bit of a sporty character to the car. Coming towards the rear, the tail lamps have also been rather smartly designed. They continue the wide theme that has been projected up front, and it comes with this very nice LED guide light which looks very fluid and very nice when lit. In addition, you also get these reflectors here with this wing kind of a treatment to the rear bumper. The car comes with sensors at the rear, up front as well, and the V and the VX variant come with sensors at the rear and up front. However, the G variant comes with sensors only at the rear. You also get a reverse parking camera, which is a good feature to have. And as you can see, inside the boot there is a lot of space. In fact, this car may look small to you, but this is a pretty big car. We'll come to that in a bit, but the space inside is 475 liters, which is par for the course. Only the City and the Ciaz have more space, and not by much. They have 510 liters of boot space, but this space is more than sufficient if you have a family of 4 and you want to go out for a long holiday. So the boot space is nothing to complain about. Also, under the pad you get a full-sized spare. This is not an alloy but a steel wheel, but having a full-sized spare is always good to have, and Toyota has provided that, so that's another good thing to have. Now in terms of size, when you look at the car, you'd probably think that this car is not big enough, as big as the City or the Ciaz probably, but you'd be surprised to know that although this car is slightly shorter, about 15 mm in terms of the length as compared to the City, it's wider by 35 mm. So this car may not look as big as the City, but the width is actually more than the City. It's as tall as the City. However, the wheelbase is something which is smaller. Putting things in perspective, it's about 50 mm shorter as compared to the City. So the space inside is slightly less, especially at the rear, and we're going to talk about that in a bit. All in all, the car looks very smart. More than the styling of it, the quality of the paint, the way things have been finished and the way the details have been taken care of. The moment you look at the car in the flesh, you realize that it's a quality machine and it's not something which is made to a price. So in that sense, a very premium looking car. May not give you the sense that it's a very big car, but the dimensions tell you another story. Let's get inside the car and see the features and all the other things that we have. Now let's quickly get done with the specs first. This one is powered with a 1.5 liter dual CVT-i engine, which essentially controls the intake as well as the outlet valve to ensure that the power delivery is very good at all RPMs. And in terms of the linear character of the engine, that really shows. This one delivers 107 PS of peak power at 6000 RPM and 140 Nm of torque at 4200 RPM. Now in terms of power, if you compare it with the rivals, this is definitely not class leading, although it's pretty good. The Ciaz has lesser power, the Skoda Rapid has lesser power, although the Verna and the City have significantly more power, about 10 to 15 PS more. In this segment, however, it's not about the outright performance, it's about the fuel efficiency, the way the car drives, the tractability and the refinement. And on all those parameters, we're going to tell you about the car's performance in a bit. In the meantime, let's get started with the features and the interior. So when you get inside the car, you'll realize that the interior has been done in a very nice manner. It reeks of quality. It's not like the interior of a lot of other cars, which seems to be built to a price. This one has a very nice interior. The fit and finish, the quality of the materials and everything is something that we really appreciate. And with this car, Toyota really wants to present itself as a quality contender in the C segment. This leather wrapped steering wheel, this piano black finish on the center console, the dash, although this is plastic. And one very interesting thing that you'll notice here is that you'll find this stitching here, and Toyota has tried to give this a leather kind of a look, and you'd want to think that this is leather, but this is plastic. Although it looks rather nice and has been finished very well, but this stitch in plastic is something that we have not seen before and is rather funny. The glove box is reasonably sized and has cooling function, so that's a nice feature to have. At the center you have two cup holders which also double up as a space to put whatever you want to put. You can put your cell phone or a wallet or whatever you want to put. So in that sense, you know, this is a good space, good utility space where you can put your objects. In addition, you get this cell phone stand here where you can probably also put your wallet if you so wish. So this again is handy. You have a 12 volt power socket here, and you have this armrest, which by the way is not adjustable but has a cavity which can take in your wallet and a couple of cell phones, so that's useful. Now the steering comes with mounted controls. You have controls for the MID, which is a 4.2 inch screen. This screen is available only on G variant upwards, which is the second variant. So you have the screen on G, V and VX variants. The lower variant has an MID but doesn't have this colored TFT screen. Also, the top of the line VX variant gets this 7-inch screen, which is an LED touchscreen unit. Another great feature that this one has is that this tilts down and opens up space for a CD player. You don't get this feature in a lot of cars these days, but this is rather good. Although when you have to put it back, you cannot see it because the brightness of this thing is not very good. We really hope that this brightness was a little better. When it's sunny, it's hard to see what's being shown on the screen. But having said that, this comes loaded with features and is a very unique infotainment system for its class. Mind you, this one is the top of the line 7-inch screen. There is another one which doesn't have a few features. This one has mirror link. This one also has Wi-Fi as well as an SD card slot and navigation. One segment lower in the V variant and the G variant, you have a touchscreen, but you don't have those features in that one. This one has something called air gestures, which is similar to the BMW 5 Series and the 7 Series. So you can choose various different settings, and there are a lot of settings: quick glance, air jump, air browse. Air essentially means the air gestures that you make, and there's a sensor in this part and it notices your hand movements, and you can either go up and down or left or right, and accordingly it'll either browse or change channels or increase or decrease the volume and do a lot of other things based on what feature you're using on the infotainment system. So as you can see, it can be used to accept or not accept calls. It can increase or decrease the volume. There are a lot of things that you can do, and we are going to make a separate video letting you know all the features of the air gestures and the hand gestures, which by the way, again, like the Apple iPad, lets you use one or multiple fingers to do a lot of things with the screen. On the downside, this screen is quite a fingerprint magnet and it gets dirty pretty quickly. Also, this infotainment system is not Apple CarPlay or Android Auto compliant, which is a bit of a downer if you really ask us. The quality of the sound is pretty good. It can play through HDMI, it has a USB port. If you look closely, you can play through CD, you can play through Bluetooth, you can connect your phone using the mirror link, as I said, or Miracast. So there are a lot of ways in which you can play media, and the quality of the sound is pretty good. For the base variant and the variant above, you get 4 speakers, but for the V and the VX variant, you get 6 speaker system, and the sound here is pretty good. The speakers are made by Panasonic. Apart from that, if you talk about the features on the car, comes loaded with features. Even the base variant of this car comes loaded with 7 airbags, including front, side curtain airbags and a driver side knee airbag. Apart from that, you also get ABS with the EBD and brake assist. All of those features are there right on the base variant. Front windscreen comes with HSEA, which is high solar energy absorption technology, and it cuts down infrared rays as well to keep the cabin cooler, and that, according to Toyota, helps the car improve its efficiency, as well as the air conditioner does not eat up as much power as it generally does to cool the cabin. Also, the side windows, they come equipped with something which is called acoustic as well as vibration control, and these reduce the noise as well as vibrations coming from the outside, and we can vouch for that because the cabin in this car is absolutely quiet. That has to be one of the highlights of this car. It just kills everything that's coming from the outside in terms of noise. There is no road noise, there is no tire noise, there is no wind noise, and if there is a car or a motorcycle passing by, the amount of noise that comes into the cabin is very, very low. So the cabin is very quiet, and we really have to give it to Toyota for making it the quietest cabins in its class. Now, in addition to that, this car comes loaded with features, and I'm talking about the features that you get on the top end variant. However, on the lower variants also you get a lot of those features. Some of the features that I really want to talk about is the vehicle stability control, which is electronic stability system. This is available only on the top end variant, but it's there. In addition, you get hill hold assist, so while you're driving up a ramp, the car is not going to go down. You also get tire pressure monitoring system. You have a reverse camera, you have front and rear fog lamps, you have day and night mirrors, you have impact sensing door unlock, so if the car senses an impact, the doors are going to unlock themselves. But from a comfort perspective, the driver gets a powered seat, which is again a feature most of the other cars in the segment are not giving. So the driver's seat is 8-way adjustable. You also get a cruise control system. You get rain sensing wipers, you get auto headlamps, you have your rear blinds which can be turned up. Now, that was about the features, but in terms of quality, in terms of the kind of comfort that you get, at least from the front passenger's perspective, we really have to give it to Toyota because the kind of quality they have put in the seats is very good. This is the top of the line variant, and this comes with leather seats, although this is not available in variants below. But the moment you get into the seats, you realize that they are very well contoured. There is very nice bolstering, and you feel very snug and comfortable, and you know the moment you get into the car that you are going to be very comfortable over the long rides. This armrest also helps, and the AC chills very well. Although it's Bangalore, it's not very hot, but the AC has been chilling rather nicely. Another very important feature that you have to have a look at is this roof mounted rear AC vent, and what you see here is something that absorbs air. It sucks in air, and these vents here throw the air at the rear passengers. Now what happens is, by sucking the air in, it creates a low pressure area so that the air that's there in the front, the cooled air, is automatically channeled towards the rear, and then by using these deflectors you can control where the air is actually going. So in that sense, it's a great feature to have for the rear passengers, especially in India where the temperatures can really go soaring above 45 degrees Celsius, and this whole thing about controlling the flow of the air and throwing the air on the upper body where the sensation of cooling is a bit more than at the lower part of the body is something which is a segment first. Now, apart from that, in terms of storage spaces, we have told you about a few spaces on the central portion. On the front door, you have this small area for map pockets, and you can store a 1 liter bottle here. Right now it's a half liter bottle that we have put, but you can store a full 1 liter bottle, and you have some space here as well, so you can put in your wallet or a small cell phone if you so wish. You also have coin compartment here which you can use, and on this side you have the start stop button as well as the traction control off button, the parking sensor button and the leveler. You also have the remote boot and fuel lid openers at this point. So overall, the interior up front with this black and beige treatment with these satin silver inserts here and there, it looks very nice. You really have to sit in the car to understand the kind of quality that I'm talking about. This car reeks of quality, and this definitely is a product which is much better than most of the other products you have seen from Toyota till now until this segment. So you'll be surprised to see the quality of the interior on this one. So that was the story up front. Let's now move to the back seat and see how comfortable or uncomfortable you are while you are seated in the back seat. Now, like the front, the quality of the materials and everything is top-notch. We don't have any qualms about the quality here. The seats are finished in leather for the top-of-the-line XP variant, and having this roof-mounted AC unit here also helps. You can also control the airflow, and if you have a look more closely, you'll realize that this deflector here is deflecting the air that's coming through these nozzles from this section, and you can use this to direct the air in a certain direction, which is very effective. You also get these lights at the rear, so if you want to read or if you want to look for something, they are going to be useful. In the door pocket, you have space only for one small water bottle. You cannot store a full-sized 1 liter bottle here, which is something that we would have wanted. You have a small space here in the door panel. The armrest is finished in leather, a part of it, and you have piano black for the rest of it, but it's finished very well. The seats are very nice. The support at the back is very good. There could have been a bit more thigh support. I'm not complaining, but it could probably have been a bit more. It's not uncomfortable, but it's not the most comfortable either. There is a lot of knee room here, as you can see, although this is not the best in class. And this is pretty okay. This is not the best in class, but this is not worth complaining either. However, the one thing that we have a bit of a problem with is the headroom. If you look closely, I am 5'10" and my head is already brushing with the roof. As I mentioned while I was talking about the design, that the roof slopes down gently towards the rear, and that has some bearing on the space that you have here for the head. And it's not a very nice feeling to have your head brushing with the roof. So if you're a 6-footer, probably your head would be brushing a little bit more than you would want, and that's something that we wanted to point out very clearly. You also get this central armrest as standard on all the variants, and which is a great thing to have. You also have 2 cup holders, and we really think that this feature is going to spell comfort over longer distances. Is there space to seat 3? We think it's okay, because this section with 2 power sockets comes in, and while there's no transmission tunnel here, so there's space to move around your legs. But it's not suited for seating 3 abreast, and it's suited for 3 people only for very short journeys, not even for medium journeys. The seats, however, come with ISOFIX mounts across the range, which is a great thing to have, and is a feature that a lot of people don't realize, but is very important for families which have small children. The seats can be split 60-40, tumble down. As you can see, this is the 60, and the 40, the other seat, also can be brought down. Let me just show you. So if you want to create more space, you can create more space pretty easily. Another great feature that the car has is that it gets a proper 3-point seat belt for the central passenger, and that we think is good from a safety perspective. You also get adjustable headrests for 3 passengers at the rear, which again is a feature that we really appreciate. One more thing that you probably would have missed, and let me just show to you, is these rear blinds, which are manual, but they are there anyway, and they are available only on the top variant, and is a feature that a lot of people in the sunnier parts of the country are going to appreciate. So that's the story at the rear. We think this is not the most spacious back bench in its segment, but if you're traveling with 2 people in the back seat, you're going to be very comfortable from the contours, from the comfort, and from the ride quality perspective, because the ride quality on this car is absolutely phenomenal. It rides firmly, and it doesn't let any of the noises of the road come in. For 2 people, the rear seats are very comfortable. Headroom is a bit of an issue, but if you're not very tall, you're not going to have any complaints. So how does this car feel on the go? Well, to start off, as I mentioned, this one comes with a smart key, so you can get in without using the key, and then turn the engine using the push button. And this one comes with the 2 transmission options. One is the 6-speed manual, and the one that we have is a 7-speed CVT-i. On the move, the few strong points of the car are it's absolutely beautiful ride quality. It rides so beautifully. In this segment, I think this has to be the best ride quality on any car, and the people who are sitting up front as well as the rear are going to appreciate it. There is absolutely no noise from the road. It absorbs all the rough surfaces and undulations very, very beautifully. The ride quality could not have been probably balanced any better, and we really love the way it simply insulates everything that is there on the outside from the cabin. There is no road noise, there is no tire noise, there is no wind noise, and even the ambient noises have been controlled very, very well. So when you get started, this is one very nice feeling that you get about the car. It's got a very solid, very European kind of a feel to it. It's very well damped, and unlike a lot of other cars within the segment, what you'll realize is that this car has a different quality, heavy kind of a feeling to it. The way it rides also translates into the way this car handles, and around corners it would hold its line very well. Even at higher speeds, this holds its line very well. The steering is not all that communicative, but the way this thing holds its line, the way it takes rough surfaces in its stride, the way it handles corners, all of that clearly lets you know that this is an international car. This is not a made for India car. It's a very, very poised set of four wheels, and once you drive this car, you are definitely going to appreciate the beautiful balance between ride quality and handling that this one has achieved. The steering could have been a bit more communicative, but we are not complaining at all. Going by Toyota standards, this one is still better than a lot of other Toyota steerings that we have had before. The braking on the car is also fantastic. The first two variants come with front discs and rear drums. However, the V and the VX variants come with all four discs, and the braking is absolutely amazing. We tested it and we were very impressed. Coming to the engine, using part throttle and using it while you're cruising is going to reward you with refinement. It's going to reward you with very good fuel efficiency. The fuel efficiency, by the way, is 17.1 kilometers for the manual, and surprisingly 17.8 kilometers for the CVT, which is the automatic. What we realized was during the day when we were driving on the smooth highways and we were driving at a very, very gingerly pace of about 80 kilometers, 70 to 80 kilometers without using the throttle much, the average fuel efficiency over a distance of about 25 to 30 kilometers shot up to about 20 kilometers to the liter, which was shocking to us. However, when we gave it the beans, when we really accelerated hard, the fuel efficiency came down, and after doing all of that, driving it a little bit on the country roads, a bit on the highway, and trying to throttle it, all of that taken together, we got a fuel efficiency of about 12 to 13 kilometers per liter. However, what you have to really understand is that this car doesn't like to be driven in a very enthusiastic manner. If you're going to mash the pedal, especially in the automatic variant, this is not going to like it much. This engine, especially with the automatic transmission, doesn't like to be revved too hard. This is not a very rev friendly kind of an engine. It starts getting noisy after 3000 RPM. Although with the paddle shifters you can shift very enthusiastically. The shifts really come in very quickly, but once you mash the pedal you realize that the CVT is not transferring all the power that's coming at the crank to the wheels in a very efficient manner. You get a lot of noise. However, it doesn't translate into that kind of an acceleration. Using part throttle really lets you appreciate the mid-range of the car, which is decently strong. It coasts, cruises very well. It's very silent from the inside. It delivers a very good fuel efficiency to you. But if you're going to drive this car like it was an enthusiast's car, you are probably going to be a bit disappointed because it starts getting noisy after 4000 RPM, especially on the CVT variant. And the way you make progress on the speedo is also not very enthusiastic. So from that perspective, this is a very practical car. It's very silent and refined as long as you use part throttle and you're cruising and you're not mashing the pedal. It responds very well. The gears respond very well to part throttle, but from an enthusiast perspective, it's probably is not the most rewarding cars there. Talking specifically about fuel efficiency, you'll get a fuel efficiency about 13 to 14 kilometers to the liter in the city if you're driving with a light foot. On the highway, you may end up getting even 20 kilometers to the liter if you have a light foot and if you're driving gingerly, because that's what we saw on the MID as well. Now in the manual mode, the car gets very, very noisy, and it'll hold on to the revs till its red line of 6,200 in the lower gears. However, in the higher gears, it'll upshift a little early at about 5,500 RPM. Alright, so we are driving the manual version now. This is a 6-speed manual transmission and not the CVT that we were driving before. So this is the V variant, and this one doesn't have the advanced screen that flips out, the one that you have on the VX variant, which is top of the line. Toyota tells us that the manual version will be available only till the V variant. VX will not be available. Some changes, you'll see that this one has this fabric trim. It doesn't have the leather seat as the CVT variant had, and apart from that, obviously the gear shifter here is the stick shifter. So how does it drive? Well, it's very tractable. At idling, it's very quiet, very silent, very refined. The tractability and the in-city drivability of the car should not be a problem at all. Even from 1000 RPM, it trundles along. It keeps on building power slightly. From 2000 RPM, it starts pulling from a little reassurance. And after 3,500 RPM, you start building some solid power. It's not the most rev-happy engines that we have driven. However, it revs to 6,200 RPM redline without much issue. It gets a little noisy though, just the way it was the case with the CVT as well. And I'll just give you a taste of that. For some of you, that sound may be interesting. For some of you, it may be not. It's not the sportiest of the sounds that we have heard and not the sportiest of the engines that we have driven. In the manual variant, the tractability, the strong, low and mid-range are the strong points of the engine. The transmission by itself, the gear shifts are not the smoothest. There is a little bit of rubberiness to it, although they slot into their gates without any clankiness or without any clatter. So the throw is short. The hold of the stick is pretty good, although there is a wee bit of rubberiness and this probably could have been a little better. All in all, we think that the manual variant can be a very good motor for the city. It's pretty practical, not the most fuel efficient mind you, but very tractable, won't make you shift too many gears. And if you're going to drive within the city in bumper to bumper traffic, we think this is going to be very tractable and very usable. Now, since this is a V variant, the manual doesn't come with powered seats, so you have to adjust the height and the other parameters manually. Also, I think that the other screen, which is not as advanced as the one on the VX, has better legibility in sunlight, and you can see things more clearly even in harsh daylight. So that's one advantage that the lower spec V variant screen has over its VX variant screen, which is more advanced in terms of features. So what's the verdict? Well, there cannot be a verdict until you know the prices, and the prices have not been announced yet, so we cannot give you the definitive verdict. However, what we can tell you is that this car is very, very well built. This reeks quality. It's been built with a lot of love. This is an international car, and that reflects in every way you look at it. It drives very well. The noise insulation inside the cabin is exceptional. The engine gets noisy, and it's not meant for enthusiasts. However, from a practical perspective, the automatic and the engine really blend together very well to give you a good fuel efficiency and a very practical kind of a performance. It's loaded to the gills with features. In the segment, you would not find any other car with so many features and so much attention to detail. So the high points of the car are its features, the way it's built, the way it drives, the ride quality is phenomenal. The handling is pretty good too. On the negative side, this one doesn't have the best amount of headroom, legroom and the knee room at the back. So that's one problem that we have with the car. Also for the enthusiasts, probably with the CVT transmission, this is not best suited. However, for everyone else who wants to buy a quality car which would last a very long time, this has been built to last a very long time. You can just tell that by sitting in the car, and it's going to give you a very good experience of ownership. This one really excels. I really think that this is going to appeal to a lot of people for all the qualities that Toyota has. Talking from a price perspective, all its competitors, including the Ciaz, the Rapid, the City and the Verna, all the models will start at 8 and end at 12. City is a bit more expensive. It starts at 9 and ends at 14. In that sense, I think with the kind of features that this car has, it comes with 7 airbags, ABS and EBD for the base variant as well. I really think that if Toyota can price it well, somewhere where it competes with the City for the base variant, it would be an ace. And to start off, the model needs to create a base for itself, and they'll have to price it aggressively. If I was Toyota, I would probably price it about 9.5 lakh rupees for the base variant, giving the customer a bit of a discount. But looking at the quality and everything, I don't think that's going to be possible. It's going to be a bit more expensive than that, and we're going to tell you the final verdict once we have the prices. But as a product, we are in love with this. This is something that suits the Indian conditions very well, and we really wish Toyota all the best with the sales of this car. And on that note, this is Amit Changani signing off. I really hope that you liked this video and this was useful to you. If you liked it, please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification icon, and share this with your friends and family who would be interested. And until next time, rev hard, rev free, and drive safe.